coming up on the Wednesday edition of Carolina Week.
Let the campaigning begin. Election season is here with some major changes.
And then sex offenders across the street from daycares. In Orange County, it's more common than you think.
The women's basketball team had a rough night shooting against State Sunday, but would it be enough to keep head coach Sylvia Hatchell from win number 700?
And when will it finally feel like January? Weathercaster Rob Ellis is here with the answer.
Carolina Week starts right now.
From the School of Journalism and Mass Communication at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, this is Carolina Week.
It's official. Election season is underway. Good evening. You're watching Carolina Week. I'm Philip Jones.
And I'm Shaheen Sayal. Candidates are kicking off their campaigns, but this year, things will be a little different. Crystal Calloway is in the newsroom and Shelley Basinger is in the studio with our live team coverage of the campaigns. Crystal, based on the numbers so far this year, fewer candidates have their eyes on those election seats.
Not many candidates have thrown their hats in the ring yet, but those who have are ready for the campaigning and competition. Tuesday night, the Board of Elections laid out campaign rules to a crowd of about 50. Many were attracted to the several spots open in Student Congress, but the previously popular races don't appear to have generated much interest this year. So far, there are only 2 candidates vying for Student Body President and 3 for Senior Class President. There may be fewer people running than last year, but the reigning Student Body President said candidates need to gain a strong group of supporters now if they really want to win.
I guess what was most effective was just having a large group of people who were really pumped about what was going on. We just had a ton of folks who were really excited, who wanted to be a part of going around campus, talking about the platform projects that we had in mind and the fun things we wanted to do.
It will be a couple of weeks before campaign staffs can get to work on speeches and the signs that lined the campus last year. Until then, most hopefuls are applying Dearman's power in numbers strategy to garnering signatures.
And right now we have maybe a larger group of around 40 to 60 people who are volunteering, going out there trying to get petitions, trying to say hi, and just get you to put us on the ballot. There's still time for anyone interested to join the race. Students have until Tuesday the 24th to submit an official declaration of candidacy.
Thanks, Crystal. Shelley, what's being done to make sure voting goes smoothly this year?
Shaheen, only 1 vote separated last year's senior class officer teams before there was a runoff election. Student Congress members voted to add a few provisions to this year's election procedures to make sure every vote counts and counts only once.
2005 senior class officer candidate Madison Perry says he'll never forget last year's race.
Yeah, it was incredible. It was 9:15 to 9:14, and I think by that point I was just ready for it to be about over.
Because there were online voting problems with last semester's special elections, Student Congress Speaker of the House Luke Farley says the Congress amended the voting procedures.
There's nothing in the code to talk about how we want to handle that. When the system doesn't work, what do you do?
The Board of Elections must provide paper ballots as an alternate way for students to vote. It must also publicize voting procedures 7 days before elections and test the online voting system 2 days prior. Right now, candidates are focusing on getting petition signatures. Student Body President candidates must collect 800, and senior class officer candidates must collect 350. As new candidates begin their journey, Perry hopes the voting system won't hinder their efforts.
The UNC election process is a work in progress, and hopefully it will continue to improve.
Although the voting rules have changed a little, campaigning rules are basically the same. Shaheen?
Thanks, Shelley. And remember, you can count on Carolina Week to keep you updated as all the votes come in.
And Shaheen, as the candidates hit the campaign trail, questions are still looming about the integrity of the campus voting system. Last week, election officials discovered a flaw that allows students voting on Student Central to vote twice for the same candidate. Elections Board Chairman Nicholas Mosley says voters can select a candidate's name from a list while also writing in the same name, giving the candidate 2 votes. He says there won't be a permanent solution in time for next month's campus elections, but a temporary fix is in the works.
We've talked with Student Congress, and Luke Farley and myself and Jim Brewer have come up with the idea of possibly not allowing write-in spots for write-in names to count if your name is also on the ballot.
The Flaw affects Student Congress races only and will have no impact on the vote for student body president or senior class officers. Students will take to the polls February 14th. If needed, a runoff election will be held February 21st.
Another campaign is starting up this week. UNC is beginning its new pedestrian safety campaign with hopes of increasing safety on campus. Starting Wednesday, you might want to watch where you walk. The program is starting with verbal warnings to anyone who's violating the state's traffic laws, which includes not crossing at a crosswalk and not following traffic signals. Department of Public Safety spokesman Randy Young says these new regulations should create an ideal campus.
We would love to see a campus where everybody's adherent to state statutes, where everybody's walking in a way that does not impede traffic, utilizing crosswalks and walking with the signals.
The maximum penalty for violating traffic laws is a written citation that includes a fine of up to $135.
Well, those traveling by bus also need to be careful. A printing error in the newly issued 2006 schedule has confused some riders of Chapel Hill Transit's NU bus. The route, which makes stops on UNC's campus, remains unchanged, but some of the listed arrival times are wrong. Between 8:25 a.m. and 7:25 p.m. on weekdays, the bus continues to arrive at all its listed stops every 20 minutes. The new guide mistakenly shows stops every hour between these times. For more information about the NU schedule, log on to our website at carolinaweek.org.
Wednesday is the last day for high school seniors to apply to UNC. And now there's another reason Tar Heel hopefuls will want to bank on Carolina. For the 5th time in a row, Kiplinger's Personal Finance magazine has ranked UNC as the best value among public institutions. The ranking is based on factors such as academics, admission costs, and retention rates. The proposed research campus called Carolina North is also attracting newcomers to UNC. But a recent announcement is raising some eyebrows. The head of a new committee for the campus might have a change of plans. Leadership Advisory Chair Ken Brown says there simply hasn't been enough community input into these original design plans. Although it might mean throwing away some of the $1 million already spent planning Carolina North, he thinks the committee needs to start with a clean slate.
But they have a process that would funnel the greatest amount of community input to the university administrators, who will ultimately have to make the decision as to what the plans look like.
Brown says the new committee is expanding to include members from UNC, Orange County, and state government, and adds that once this step is complete, there will be several open forums for the group to solicit input.
Some UNC students are seeking change for university workers. It's a fight they started nearly a year ago.
What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now!
Student Action with Workers, or SAW, organized a rally Wednesday calling for better working conditions and the right to unionize for employees of dining services provider Aramark. The group marched through Lenore Hall with banners and recited parts of Martin Luther King Jr.'s speeches about labor rights.
We're out here today protesting, demanding that Aramark honor the method of unionization that's been demanded by the workers and respect that process, end their campaign of intimidation and harassment, and to call on the university to intervene, to take responsibility that all campus workers should have the same rights.
The group hopes the university and Aramark will honor MLK Week by listening to the concerns of the workers. Well, Shaheen, for some people, Martin Luther King Day is just another day off from work.
But for some UNC students, MLK Day means service. About 70 students gathered in Carroll Hall Monday to take part in a day of service. The students were separated into 5 large groups, each going to different locations throughout the community. Some chose to help the environment by pulling weeds near Forest Theater. Others spent time with the elderly at the Altera Senior Citizen Center. Senior Jared Jenkins says giving back to the community is a great way to honor Dr. King.
You can make changes now. I'm 21. I'm half his age when he died, so I think it would be kind of like disrespectful for me not to be making a change in my community when the change starts now.
MLK celebrations go on for the rest of this week. Wednesday, there will be a candlelight vigil around the Old Well, and poet and activist Nikki Giovanni will speak at Memorial Hall at 7:30. On Thursday and Friday, BSM will sponsor I Too Sing America in the Great Hall. Well, coming up on Carolina Week, some sex offenders live right across the street from child care centers.
Should this be legal? Well, an offender and a daycare owner weigh in when we return.
Mrs. Abruzzo, I'm Ed McMahon, and we're signing up people for... Yes, I am. Yeah. Mr. Murphy, Ed McMahon. We're starting up... No.
Dreams really do come true.
Hombre, dinero.
No.
Con cámaras. Yes,
Ed
con
McMahon,
cameras.
see.
Ed McMahon.
Yes, Ed McMahon. We're having our first
Ed
ever...
McMahon.
Yes. Tuesday night at the high school. We're starting up the neighborhood watch in this area, and here's all the information.
Stevie, get down here, please.
No, it's just
5, 6, 7, 8.
No tango dinero. Neighborhood watch. We're having this neighborhood watch, the first one. Right.
Larry, put some pants on.
I'll come back.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Start a neighborhood watch. It's just one of the many ways you can help make America stronger. To find out how, call or log on for this free guide.
In North Carolina, registered sex offenders can live anywhere they want, and where they live might surprise you. Reporter Sean Maroney is in the Freedom Forum with that story. Sean?
Anyone can search North Carolina's sex offender registry online, Phil, to see where offenders live. How would you feel if you found a sex offender near you or even near your child's daycare? Some people say there's no reason to worry, but others, they're not so sure.
Very nervous, very nervous.
That's the way Kathia Hatcher feels each day as she leaves her 4 children at daycare, knowing that a registered sex offender lives directly across the street. Hillsborough daycare owner Rachel Kimber was unaware of her neighbor until Hatcher voiced her concerns.
She came to me and told me that she had looked on the internet and saw that he lived across here.
We also looked on the internet, and with the help of the North Carolina Sex Offender and Public Protection Registry, we found this. We have a convicted sex offender, attempted second-degree rape, and indecent liberties with a child. And it's that big white house right above that roof. So it's within viewing distance from your daycare. How does that make you feel?
I feel that he shouldn't be able to live this close to a daycare or a school or anywhere around children. I was thinking that was one of the laws.
More than a quarter of all states limit where sex offenders can live. North Carolina doesn't. A sex offender can live next to a school, a park, or even a daycare. If North Carolina had a law, then this offender would have to move. And he wouldn't be the only one. Orange County has 83 registered sex offenders. These red symbols mark where they live, and these blue symbols indicate daycares. We found offenders with crimes against children who live next to public schools, on school bus routes, and directly across the street from daycares. We took our findings to psychologist Dr. William Burlingame, who is an expert in working with sex offenders and their victims.
It doesn't look good, does it? Well, not until one knows a lot more, and then it may not look good either.
Burlingame says we should look at each offender and make decisions on a case-by-case basis. He says he's hesitant to support a blanket law limiting where sex offenders can live.
It's one of those items that is seems to make intuitive sense, but we have no research on that one, no research at all.
I have 2 victims, 2 boys. They were 9 and 12.
Meet John. He's a registered sex offender. He served a total of 10 years for his crimes in another state where there are proximity laws. He says he understands why the public supports these laws.
They have this feeling of safety, even though that safety is not really there.
He now lives in North Carolina. He's employed and goes to therapy. He doesn't think proximity laws are effective.
To say it this way, if I want to commit a new crime, it doesn't matter where I live or what proximity I am from a school or a daycare center or a park. It's not going to make any difference if that's my intent.
John does agree with Burlingame that appropriate restrictions on a case-by-case basis are a better idea.
And the therapist knowing the person well enough to make the decision on where that person should reside. Do you take someone who committed the offenses that I did and put them next to a junior high school? That's probably not a good idea. I mean, just to be, to be blunt about it.
And Kimber agrees.
Now, okay, just not only the daycare is here, I'm here. There's one that's over on Nash that he's close to. There's 2 or 3 schools that are right over here.
John says Kimber shouldn't worry about the stranger across the street.
The majority of sex offenders do not molest children that they do not know. Over 90% of sex offenders molest children, molest those within the family or that are close friends of the family.
Those statistics do little to comfort mothers like Hatcher.
My goodness, that's something that I can't get out of my head. Please don't wait something, bad happen to anybody in the community.
But with no legislation on the table and no research to show the need for it, waiting is all Hatcher can do. Hatcher says she doesn't plan on switching daycares, but she and Kimber hope lawmakers keep a watchful eye out for offenders.
Sean, did you talk to any lawmakers about this?
I did. I spoke with Ellie Kinnaird by phone, the Orange County senator, and Phil, she said that she happens to like our laws and that she's afraid a change will happen that we don't need if it's brought up in the legislature.
All right, it'll be interesting to see if any laws are put on the table this session. Thanks, Sean.
Well, at the end of January, more than 3,300 registered sex offenders in North Carolina could be dropped from the state's registry. Lawmakers have chosen not to renew Megan's Law, which for 10 years has addressed how the public is notified about registered sex offenders in their community. Those due to be dropped include all low and medium risk offenders, also referred to as Level 1 and Level 2. But the state's most serious offenders, Level 3, will remain in the registry for life.
Well, weathercaster Rob Ellis joins us now, and on Tuesday, it was unseasonably warm. Students were walking around in shorts and flip-flops. Wednesday did bring us some cooler temperatures, though.
That's right, Rob. It just seems like January, we're not experiencing normal temperatures.
It's really kind of strange. It feels more like spring with the rapid changes that we've seen. And Wednesday's weather was up and down. It would have felt warm, but with all that wind, it definitely felt like winter. Are we in for a windy weekend? I'll let you know coming up.
Women's Center, may I help you?
The Women's Center is a nonprofit agency that has served as a meeting place for women in the Triangle since 1979, making it one of the oldest freestanding women's centers in the country. The mission of the Women's Center is to provide a supportive community where all women can inspire each other to grow, both personally and professionally.
I was going through a crisis at home, and I contacted Helpline, and they referred me directly to the Women's Center.
I think the Women's Center is really important for the community because it offers so many different kinds of resources, and if we don't have the resource here, we can find an avenue or a way for women to find the answers that they need.
It is inspiring. It's so exciting to be a part of something that really matters and really changes things.
You can support the Women's Center through membership or by sending a contribution to the Women's Center, 210 Henderson Street, Chapel Hill, North Carolina, 27514.
Well, thank you for joining us for Carolina Week Weather. I'm weather forecaster Rob Ellis. The system that moved through on Tuesday and Wednesday brought a real dramatic change in our weather, and we saw some amazing winds, wind gusts of around 40 miles an hour reported all around the Triangle. But these winds are going to be dying down as we move through the week, and we're also going to be seeing a weekend warming trend as we go through Friday. But as we approach Saturday, it does look like some showers may move through with another system. Now let's open it up to the big picture out on our national satellite map. Now here's the system that moved through, this very strong system, one of the strongest that we've seen so far this season, push through. And here's your cold front as it exits the east coast. But over much of the southeast, if we zoom in, we'll be able to see that it's very clear at the moment over the Carolinas and much of Georgia. And just on radar, we're able to see just a few showers lingering to our north. But over much of the area, we see that it's clear at the moment, and it does look like that's going to be the trend as we make our way through the rest of this week. If we look at our national surface map, I'll be able to show you why. This high pressure system is in place, and that's what's going to give us those clear skies, and it's also going to be bringing us some warming. But out to our west, we do have a storm system, this low pressure system along with this front. Now it's not quite as severe as the one that we saw pass this past Tuesday night, but it will bring us a chance for some showers and thunderstorms. Let's show you that in the 4-day forecast. Starting out on Friday, some sunny conditions, but look at our temperatures, 67 degrees. It's going to feel like spring out there. A great day to end the week, and overnight temperatures of about 43 degrees. It's going to be clear, and that's why our temperatures are going to be able to cool down in the evenings. But as we make our way into Saturday, there's that chance for rain. Not quite a heavy chance, but there is some chance for some rain showers. Temperatures slightly lower, 65 degrees, 51 overnight. On Sunday, some of the clouds clear out. We are able to see the sun, but our temperature of about 60 degrees, 57 for our high on Monday, and another chance as the system approaches. Let's go ahead and take a look if you have plans to travel. We'll start out with your beach forecast. Same conditions that we saw in the triangle are going to be reported in the beaches, but our temperature is still very nice, 68 for your high, 54 overnight for your low, 67 for Sunday, and those clouds clearing out by Sunday. And we'll do the same thing for the mountains, except the temperatures are going to be slightly cooler, 58 for your high, overnight low, 42. And so it looks like the weekend is going to be great, and heading into the weekend, it's going to feel a lot more like spring. We're going to cool out some of these temperatures that we have, so it's going to be great. I'm enjoying it, even though it doesn't feel like January.
I may have to go to the beach on Sunday. Looks great.
It's a good weekend for it.
Well, thanks, Rob.
All right, thanks very much, Rob. And our new semester of Carolina Week brings us some new faces here on the desk, and Michael Crow is our new sportscaster. Welcome on board.
Thanks.
But unfortunately, you have some bad news about the Carolina Tar Heel basketball team against Miami.
Yeah, they struggled over the weekend, but they're going to look to rebound tomorrow. But coming up in sports, 2 schools, almost 58 hours of basketball, and more than 7,000 points scored. We'll take you through the longest game of basketball ever played, and it happened right here on campus.
Art can be many, many, many things. The North Carolina Museum of Art offers one of the premier art collections in the Southeast, and it's yours to discover. There's something for everyone. Works by classic and contemporary artists, a 164-acre museum park, an outdoor concert series, performances, and so much more. Experience all that art can be at the North Carolina Museum of Art.
Hey, there are a lot of ways we can help our community. Spending our money in Orange County, whether it's filling up the car or shopping at local businesses, helps maintain our roads, improves our children's schools, and creates jobs.
Spending your money locally helps us all in a big way. So remember, shop Orange first.
Welcome to Carolina Week Sports. I'm Michael Crow. For better or for worse, through good times and bad, I'll be your sportscaster for the rest of the semester. Let's get it started. The women's basketball team was ranked number 4 in the country heading into the game against 25th ranked North Carolina State on Sunday, but this is a rivalry game. Leave your rank at the door. The Heels stumbled early in the first half thanks to this state defense that forced 21 turnovers in the game. Carolina's offense had its worst night this season, shooting only 32% from the floor. Despite it all, the Heels went on a 15-0 run late in the first half and never lost the lead. Ivory Latta smiled about her poor shooting performance after the game.
Man, I don't know, when we were shooting around, it's kind of slippery and everybody's hands are just, real slippery. So I don't know, I guess we're just going to practice with some glue on our hands in the next couple of practices. I know she was telling Ted she put some glue on her hands, so I guess that's what we're going to do next practice.
It was Coach Sylvia Hatchell's 700th career win. She's been at Carolina since 1986. While the women's basketball coach notched her 700th win, the men's coach, that's Roy Williams in case you forgot, was looking for a career win, 481, against Miami on Saturday. Right from the opening tip-off, poor shooting both from the field and free throw line, as well as some downright sloppy play, haunted the Heels, leaving Roy a little less than happy. But a few nice plays from Wes Miller and a tip-in by David Noel gave Carolina the lead going into the break. The Heels began the second half with 2 Rayshawn Terry threes to give them their largest lead of the game. But with just about 4 minutes to go, Danny Greed fouls Miami Roberts Height on a 3-point attempt. Height would make all 3 free throws to spark a 12-0 run from which Carolina would not be able to recover. The Heels fall 81-70. Carolina versus Duke. There's now a new chapter in this bitter basketball rivalry, and this game was just a little bit longer than most.
24 students from Carolina and Duke played in the world's longest basketball game this past weekend,
The 57-hour, 17-minute basketball marathon required players to be on the court for long periods of time and to not leave Fetzer Gym for 3 days.
If you're out there on a 3-hour shift, and the last hour is really hard because you kind of get hungry and thirsty and you just kind of want to relax for a little bit. So the last hour is the toughest.
The basketball marathon raised money for the children of Hoop Dreams. The program teaches terminally ill children basketball skills in a safe environment. UNC student and marathon creator Greg Richmond says the children are special.
These kids are very inspirational. A lot of times I think people think of terminally ill kids as these kids just sitting in like a hospital bed or whatever else. And I think this puts a whole new face and whole new meaning to who these kids really are.
Duke squeaked out a 200-point victory, but in this game there were no losers. The marathon raised $60,000 for the children. Is this something you would do again?
Yes. Maybe. Well, yeah, I don't think I would do it again.
The swimming and diving teams returned to action Friday for the first time in the new year. Their opponents, Clemson and Johns Hopkins. The 23rd ranked men's team got off to a quick start as Hank Browning captured 2 individual events, including the 200-yard freestyle. The women took 9 events, including this win by Whitney Sprague in the 1,000-yard freestyle. The men's and women's squads both cruised to victory and remain undefeated in conference waters. Well, the men's basketball team will have a chance for redemption tomorrow against Virginia, and happy birthday to the Dean Dome. It turned 20 today.
20 years and a couple hundred victories, right?
Hopefully a lot more.
All right, thanks very much, Mike.
Thanks, Michael. Well, it happens to all of us. You get that gift you just don't need or want.
Coming up on Carolina Week, we'll show you how you can re-gift without the guilt.
Tarzan, Lord of the Jungle, King of the Apes, Father of Boy. He knows what it takes to be a dad. You go for a ride, you take a swim, you hang out. All it takes is time. Hey, it doesn't take a hero, but it takes a man to be a dad.
If you have a story idea, contact Carolina Week at 843-8292. You can also visit us online at carolinaweek.org. If you have questions about this program, write Carolina Week at Campus Box 3365, UNCCH, Chapel Hill, North Carolina, 27599.
Phil, did you happen to get any gifts this season you'd rather do without?
Other than that tie you gave me, Shaheen, no. But if you did, reporter Alex Villarreal shows us one local organization that can help you out.
Chances are you have some unwanted gifts lying around the house.
My mom gave me a scarf. I have no need for a scarf. I've never worn one.
My wife got me a briefcase that I really wasn't looking forward to.
The Animal Protection Society of Orange County, or APS, will take what you don't want and use it to help little guys like Blue, Stitch, and Victor. The APS will put all donated items on eBay in its first ever re-gift auction. APS Financial and Human Resources Manager Barbara Duffy hopes the re-gift auction will raise more than money.
The ultimate goal, one, is just to raise awareness about the Animal Protection Society. And I think we've been able to do that just for people to see where we are and what we're doing. And also just to come up with a creative idea to raise money.
The Animal Protection Society has already collected a number of re-gifts, including a set of Raggedy Ann and Andy dolls, and NC State basketball signed by Coach Herb Sendek, and even a wedding dress. If you'd like to donate, you can drop off your items at 6311A Nix Road in Mebane, or in Chapel Hill at 1506 East Franklin Street, Suite 100. The animals thank you. In Chapel Hill, I'm Alex Villarreal, Carolina Week.
And if you're interested in checking out that auction on eBay, it begins on Monday.
I'm sure, Rob, you had your eye on that state ball.
Yeah,
basketball.
I can't believe someone would want to re-gift that, but I guess.
In case you're not aware, Rob goes to state, but we don't really talk about it that much.
Well, that's going to do it for this edition of Carolina Week. Thanks for watching.
Have a great night. And we didn't really talk to Mike a lot in that.